You got your windows open, huh? You can tell. There's bright light behind you.
Should I shut my...
No. You're fine. You're fine.
You just looks like you're glowing just a little bit.
Glow.
I am the Dragon Reborn. Hey, welcome back everyone to the Dragon Reviewed, and we're on the penultimate episode of season 3 of the Wheel of Time. I'm Cam, that's Christine and Kyle, and I'm a book reader. Those two guys have never read the books, show only, and this is a no book spoilers review, so it's really about getting these two's opinion. Kyle, why don't you tell the guys about what else they can find, if they care to do so, on the Genreverse?
I'll do that now. I in no way brought the screen up too early. Check out the Genreverse YouTube channel's other content, mostly anime reactions, but we do cover everything and anything in geek pop culture entertainment. Reactions, reviews, podcasts. Look for our Andor reviews starting in 2 weeks-ish, the 22nd or something like that, right, Cam? On our show, The Cantina, our podcast, The Cantina. And of course, what we talk about here, Cam usually writes about over at lrmonline.com, but Christine and I and others, Shockey, Jace, also write about all things in entertainment over at lrmonline.com, as well as Cam's written Wheel of Time series reviews. So yeah, check that out. LRM's YouTube channel for celebrity interviews and the like. They've been killing it on the shorts over there. Finally, guys, I told you about that years ago. Just saying. No, I'm happy to see it. So yeah, lots of good interviews, including Andor interviews going up over at the LRM YouTube channel right now. Stellan Skarsgård, freaking the lady that plays Bix. Yeah, a lot.
I have to go and look at them this weekend in case there's anything worth doing as a separate little story or something like that for the site. So yeah, cool. So yeah, you can find that stuff on there. I'm a big fantasy fan, Wheel of Time fan. I thought, Christine, you're more into fantasy than Kyle is normally, but we've been on this journey together since season 1 of the Wheel of Time, and cut a long story short, basically people are here to hear what you guys think. So our viewers tend to be people who have read the books but want to know what non-book readers think, rather than another book reader's thoughts. So, or show only viewers that want to get, don't get any book spoilers or anything like that as well. So
I will say it's been a lot of fun, and it's sometimes tempting to look ahead a little bit, but I'm staying strong. So
I don't get tempted. I don't.
No?
It's like when every time my son asks, what's going to happen in a show or something like that. It's like, we're not talking about it. Deal with it. You got to wait. I like surprises though. Like that's my bag, baby. Like I've always been a person who, like if I know something, like Marvel Comics, for example, right? I had read Civil War all before the MCU was even an itch in Kevin Feige's pants. I had read a lot of the stories that they use at least through the Infinity Saga. It doesn't necessarily detract from my enjoyment, but I do enjoy being surprised for, initially, and because I'm a big fan of visual mediums in general, overnight. And don't get me wrong, before multiple head injuries, I read a lot. Finishing a novel in a day was not
I don't know how he does it.
An issue for me. So I loved reading, but I love movies and television and animation and even comics in some ways more. So I don't get tempted. I'm like, I'll wait because I want to see it. I want to experience it in what is my preferred medium.
Mine's just like sporadic, like, oh, what's this? The results. But it's fun to be surprised too.
I don't think I'd necessarily go and look something up. Like, for example, when I was reading the Wheel of Time books, I certainly didn't go look anything up to see what was happening. I just read it and found out as I went along. Sometimes I would look up something after the fact, kind of thing. But it's hard for me to say because the job I do for LRM, I cover a lot of the rumors and stuff like that. So the average Marvel movie, DC movie, Star Wars movie, I know the entire plot before I ever go and see it, kind of thing, and that's just the nature of my job. So I've kind of become immune to all that a little bit over the years. But anyway, let's get on to episode 7 of the Wheel of Time, and essentially it was the Battle of the Two Rivers set up, and then the kind of execution of that. So I think we started with Kel last week. So Christine, so I think it was the other way around about. Sorry, we started.
No,
with
I think I
Christine
started
last week.
first.
I think you started last time.
I did.
All right, okay.
I can go.
Just let her go.
You
I can go. Yeah. It was. I know. Watching it, it was going to be.
No, wait. It was you. Screw that. No, I'm joking. Go, babe.
I knew that this episode was going to take all of the battle, that we weren't going to see anything else. So there's still some things that I'm dying to know, but I really love that they gave this battle all that attention. It was really good, and it was nice seeing Perrin becoming the leader, becoming more strong in that role, and feeling more comfortable in that role. And yeah, it was just fun to watch. We lost someone, and that sucked, but yeah, it was good.
Okay.
Who did we lose?
At the very end, we did
Yeah.
lose that. I'll just
Oh,
say
yeah.
this is
Sorry.
spoilers for the
I
episode, so
I got
we're
it.
talking
Yeah. Sorry. There, like Christine said, there's so much focused on the battle in the two rivers itself that I forgot who went to the gate and to shut it down for a second. But yeah, tracking that. Was that it from you?
Oh, and I knew that Pat and Fane was gonna stick around. Like it had that feeling like he's going to be that little parasite that just isn't going to leave. But it's good to have a bad guy to hate, one that you love to hate. So
yeah, I get that. It's a pretty good point of view.
Really good episode. Lots of emotional tension. Relatively decent fight. Like I told Christina, I was like, this makes the big town defense fight in the first season of Rings of Power just look like, I mean, it already looked like dog shit, but this,
bear in mind that it
worse.
would have been a much bigger budget than
Way
they had for this, because
bigger budget.
I could see budget restraints in this episode, kind of thing, which we'll get into. And I don't think Rings of Power would have had those same restraints, and yet it felt empty. This felt like, the right amount of people in the right space, kind of thing.
They did good with blocking. They did good with picking their shots. I think everything's much more up close. They try to make it look epic from certain far shots, but they also try to make it look like a desperate fight. Small group using their terrain, and then they get in close with the action and really make it feel more full than it probably really was, and which is fine, because it ended up looking really, really good. I had mentioned earlier when we did the trailer reaction, why are we always fighting it? Or did they pick this location to fight for budget reasons? Excuse me. And it takes place at night. One thing I said while we were watching it, and I'll reiterate, nighttime operations are not, especially in old times, they're not as common as Hollywood would have you believe, because all the disadvantages for you at night are also disadvantages for the other side at night. Yeah. No one really wants to operate, especially big battles at night, because a lot of bad things can happen to either side. So it's usually, and then I don't know in the books if it took place at night. I think Trollocs are better off at night. I don't know if they could be out in the day too much.
Well, I don't think it's like, like in Tolkien, the goblins and the orcs don't like the daylight. I don't think there's any of that going on.
Okay.
Like they can't stand daylight. And
so I don't,
because
where
they live's kind of deserty, like, in some ways. But,
so
nighttime's cool for battles.
Exactly. I think it did happen.
I think it did happen at nighttime in the books, but I couldn't actually tell you for definite on that.
It's all good. Regardless, even if it didn't, they probably would have made it at night simply for budget restraints. It allows you to fudge a lot of stuff. CGI, the crowds, you can hide things in the dark. Anyways,
for sure.
Big emotional moments. You don't know if they're going to kill a couple of characters. They decide to, and you still don't technically know. Dude sits there, sings, and falls, but that doesn't mean jack in a fantasy realm.
True.
And in a fantasy world within the world. So, was that his Gandalf moment? None shall pass or you shall not pass. Is it something like that? I don't know. But really, really solid episode. I guess we'll talk about more stuff as we go along.
Yeah. I won't say too much till we get to kind of the grade side of things. And, maybe I'll start the book. Any book watchers that are watching this will probably know there's a few things that are, I wouldn't say necessarily controversial, but happen differently than they do in the books, and indicate that we're going to have quite a few changes further down the line as well. Just little things sometimes, but you're like, well, that plot's not going to happen. Small things like that. So for me, I'm kind of like, okay, let's see where it goes. Does that make sense? I'm not like infuriated by it, because I know there are chunks of plot that must come out, because we just can't. And even if this goes to 8 seasons, which fingers crossed it does,
and some things being amalgamated
chunks, because it's 14 books, and there are some of those books that do plod along a little bit as well.
You don't want to hire too many workers too, and have too many
and there's
paychecks.
Different characters coming in and out all the time, and you just can't do that in TV. So you're going to get characters merged together a little bit as well. So I'm kind of wait and see how it goes, kind of thing. I guess we should talk about your kind of grades and why you've given it that grade, kind of thing, at the moment. So Christine, you can go first, because
I can go first.
Kind of went in that order.
I would give it an A+. The battle looked really good. It was very visually pleasing. Alana still holding on, and I was on the edge of my seat for that. Like I said, Perrin coming into this leadership role, the white cloak dying, the one that we've wanted to go, and
that was glorious.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
This heartbreaking moment in the with the destroying of the gate, and it was really good. It felt really big. It felt really full, and it's good.
Okay. That's pretty good. A+, so basically no notes. That's pretty high praise. But I think that may be is that your first A+ this season, or have you given another A+, or maybe episode 4? I don't know.
I
think that was an A+.
Yeah,
I think we all were hyped on that one.
Kind of on that one, yeah. Okay,
maybe.
Cool.
Go check the tape, guys. I used to put the scores down in the thing, but then I forgot, and I just didn't do it this season. So
lazy kid.
I know. Right?
Shame on you.
there are timestamps, so it's not that hard to find them. I don't know, A+ range. Battles, it's fun to sit there and get super hyped on battles, and a lot of it depends on the execution, because no matter how epic it might kind of feel or look or been meant to be, how well was it executed? What can really set things apart when it comes to battle episodes or battle scenes in a movie is if you still manage to get some character progression, more than just a heroic moment. And there's some of that in this. There's some character progressions for Perrin, as well as the two girls, Matt's sisters, a little bit for Alana and Maxim. You actually get some genuine human moments, and then the stuff with the Tinkers coming back in. I think I'd probably lean towards that A+. There's a lot of really good stuff here, and again, as show only guys, like Cam said, some of you might be jumping up and down at how horrible this was that they changed something, but we don't know any better. So I'll go ahead and
just because I talk about changes doesn't necessarily mean changes for the worst as well. There will always be, there are always people out there that if they change a word, it's a travesty. But you cannot adapt this book word for word. It's impossible. No one will ever pay for it. So you either say it's not for me, I'll stick to the books, or you give it a chance. It's one or the other. So I'm definitely in the kind of give it a chance mode. I went A-, and I think that's probably, I did say in my written review, I think I would have been an A if I wasn't a book reader. And I think the minus is for that, but I also reserve the right to upgrade that if some of the choices made pay off down the line.
Yeah.
And if they don't pay off down the line, or like I feel like something's lacking further down the line, I always have to be careful about what I'm saying here. Very vague, sorry.
Yeah.
But then I would reserve the right to maybe drag it down even a little bit as well. But I can't deny that I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good episode, good fight scenes, good sort of build-up drama. My one criticism maybe I can talk about a little bit was I felt like it needed an extra 10-15 minutes. Like, I know it's like a 60-minute episode, but I thought like a lot of it, sometimes it's like too much set up, not enough battle. Or there's too much battle, not quite enough set up to connect to things. I kind of felt like we needed an extra 5 or 6 minutes of each to just broaden it out a little bit. That it was a little bit crushed to kind of gather. But you know, that's being quite picky, I think, as well, because I understand that I'm sure they would have loved to make an hour and a half long episode, but there wouldn't have been a budget for that. You know, time equals budget.
Battles are big.
They've already talked about having to make cuts for budget this season as well. So I completely understand it. And actually, you know, the end product was pretty decent as far as I'm concerned as well.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything that funked you out a little bit, or any criticisms at all about this one? Or is it like no notes?
The only thing, and it's a bit nitpicky, is, and they've been guilty of this all season, really, is when it's dark, it can be really dark. You think about the beach scene when you're traveling through the past and see the first, you know, Aiel split because dude stabs to save his sister. That's like a really, really dark scene. Like, even if you've got an HDR TV, it's still really dark. And this had a lot of moments like that. And really, I'm just angry because it made it difficult to get really good thumbnails for this review.
I kind of understand that a little bit as well. Sometimes the dark scenes can be hard because it just doesn't look crisp enough. But this is not, I don't think your criticism is unwanted. I think there's a lot of other people experiencing the same thing. And I don't think it's peculiar to Wheel of Time either.
No,
I think it's happening
not.
with all the shows that are dark and at night and stuff like that. And my take on it is based on talking to people online, is it really depends on the settings in your TV. But what people are not going to do is individually adjust all the settings for each show that they're watching until they get
you can't even save that
back.
You
know, that's
changing it in the middle of the episode, and
you're going to find one that works for you and then just make do with it. And that's the kind of risk you're taking. There's some people who are watching this on a phone and saying, like, you can't see anything on a phone, and you're like, well, I'm not being funny, but that kind of makes sense, you know.
We watch most of our content using a slightly modified filmmaker mode, which generally filmmaker mode turns off all your filters, and it has like some really basic color settings. And I go in there and there's a few things that I do adjust. I don't want the lighting as cool as like usually your standard or Dolby Vision is. It's very cold light, very, very cool, very blue. So but filmmaker mode is very warm. So I actually move it closer to the middle, but still a touch on the warm side, because that's kind of usually what is done when making this type of content. And then depending on what we're watching, I might add the ever bit so slightest of smoothing, because 24 frames really stands out a lot to me. So I might add just a touch of smoothing that brings it up to more like a digital 30, like what you watch most of your content on. So it doesn't give it that like display at Best Buy look, but it doesn't look as jittery, because I've spent so much of my life looking at high refresh because I was a computer gamer. I do computer stuff. People can laugh all day, and it's not like a pretentious or like I'm better than you thing, but
It's something you notice. It's not something I notice much,
I notice
but it is
so bad.
Yeah.
It looks so rough. And like video games at 30 frames per second, like when it's locked in at 30, it's not even worth playing to me. It looks like stop motion. It's awful. I wish I wasn't as sensitive to it. So that's
I'm
it.
not
And
as
even then,
sensitive
it's
to
still
stuff
pretty
like that,
dark. Oh, and I turn
And I'm
our
quite lazy with my settings.
Yeah, me too.
I turn up our the dimming zones. I allow more brightness, so there's a lot for more contrast, and that's it. Everything else is pretty basic. So
My only gripe is he does it while it's playing instead of pausing it, and
I know what you mean. The worst one I've ever come across was the famous episode in the last season of Game of Thrones.
Oh, that was awful.
I remember watching it early morning. So it wasn't like I live in Scotland, so we ain't in the sunshine most of the time. It's nice today, but most of the time it's not. So early morning it is not sunshine. It's just some dim light. And I couldn't see a thing. And I literally couldn't see a thing. You were just seeing shapes moving across the screen. It was ridiculous.
One last thing I'll say on this, because it's a bit out of the norm for this discussion, but I think some of it also has to deal with what people want. We used to light up nighttime scenes still bright as hell, where you could see everything, but people are looking for more. I guess they think they're looking for more realism in the dark. As someone who did military operations in the dark,
it's also what you said earlier, hide more, because back in the day you could hide more and still light it because the resolution wasn't as good. So when you go back and watch old things now, sometimes you can literally see the blue,
even when it's not even no, I'm talking like even settings in a room, like 2 or 3 people talking in a room. It just happens to be at night, and it's just a dinner light. They don't light things the way that they used to, and some of it is looking for a more realistic lighting. But you're losing stuff. You're losing stuff in translation between the actual scene, the filming, the processing, and then what's delivered to your screen. So there's a lot going on with it. Anyways,
any other kind of notes about this week or anything like that? Anything that
the surprise with the killing of the Trolloc, I did not see that coming. I did want to mention that they really got me there, and that was really heartbreaking.
Adam killed the Trolloc, the Tinker. Adam killed the Trolloc. Yeah. Okay. So I guess.
He's been alienated from his family, his tribe, and
I can't help but come at it.
Over.
I can't help but come at it from my point of view, though, where I'm gonna be a lot like the Two Rivers, where we're like, dude, we can use you. Them. Like, sorry for. I'll hopefully remember to bleep out the F-bomb, but screw the. And again, that's my point of view. I'm not part of that.
I'm looking
at
culture. It as what his feelings are going to be on that.
And I'm certainly not a Zen pacifist or something like that. If someone's going to attack my family, I'm going to attack them back again. The guy's holding a baby
with extreme prejudice.
I mean, what's he supposed to do? Give him the baby and run away? That kind of almost like the Tinker way. Well, bury the dead and keep moving.
Exactly.
I can almost
it's
weird. Expecting them to do that. It does present that situation that it's a kind of doomed culture unless that culture exists in a world where everybody is really peaceful, kind of thing, then it's just not going to be successful. But at the same time, because they always run away and they gather more people, they they're limping on, if you like, kind of thing. But they haven't thrived like the rest of the Aiel have and created this whole culture, because they fight back. So people are scared of the Aiel and they don't come and take their stuff off them and kill them for fun.
Yeah.
So I know, but it's one of those kind of violence versus peace and that's I guess there's a little bit of that going on in Perrin as well, isn't there? That like you can tell that he wants to be a peaceful man, but he also is not going to just stand there and let people kill and hurt the people he actually loves and cares about.
Anyone that has seen the horrors of war, of battle, generally tend to be the ones that want peace the most, because they know what war and battle brings. They know what it means, what it costs. They carry the scars physically and mentally, and they can last generations. Trauma can be passed on. And even though there are soldiers out there that are extremely good at killing the enemy, that is, and might not be. They might be all gung ho hua hua. There's still a part of them that doesn't. They don't want it. They don't want.
Yeah.
Even if they're
you're actually in the wrong job if you want it. You know,
Yeah.
Sort of like
peace, but you're there in
they
case.
want to be the last ones to have to do it. They'll do it with glee, some of them, and even special operators can really struggle under the weight of what they do. But some of them, even the ones that are super gung ho, I promise you, the majority of them wish that the people behind them wouldn't have to do it. They're hoping their next kill, they're hoping their next engagement is the one. It would be. They know it's not, but that's why they do it.
Yeah.
And put so much effort
into it. I think any soldier would rather train for the eventuality than actually be in the eventuality. I think that's the point of it. But
they'll play out in the field and play with the explosives and stuff. Yeah.
I love demo day.
But at the same time, you're there when you're needed, because we all realise that you do kind of have to stand up for yourself, because history's shown us that people will just come and hit you over the head with a rock and take your stuff off you if you don't fight back.
Yeah.
Okay, so sort of questions then. So my main question to you guys is, because this kind of felt to me like almost a season finale for Perrin's storyline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we're going to see more of that next week? I don't know the answer to this, by the way, so it's not. Or do you think that's Perrin's story kind of capped till season 4 if we get it? Or do you think we'll see what happens next week?
I would assume he's done. We might get a bit of a, I don't want to call it a stinger, but as they're saying farewell to everyone for the season, however we're going to do it is as people are going their way or stuck where they're at, we might see him, still being dragged cuffed or arriving to someplace cuffed. We might get that, but I don't think we're going to, I hope not, because we got a lot of other stuff we need to wrap up in this next episode for this season. So I would hope that we are essentially done. And I think it's a fine stopping point for him, pausing point for him. Like I said, other than like an established shot that some travel has happened or something.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. Like just having that little bit where they get him to wherever they want to go, or
like a little stinger.
Yeah,
he's still here, kind of thing. Yeah, that's what I think as well. Not they might even not do that, but I think that's all we would get if he appears at all. I just kind of feel like they ended his story and they're now going to focus on those other stories and giving them all a kind of a final, well, not a final resolution in a series. We're only
season
a quarter of the way through, but yeah, you get what I mean. And I guess the next question that goes off of that end is, what do you think is going to happen in the finale for the stories that we have left? So theoretically, if we go through our stories, we've got the Aiel Waste, which is Rand, Egwene, Moraine, Lanfear, the Aiel, all in the desert and stuff like that. We've got the Tanchico plot, which is Mat, Nynaeve, Moghedien, that sort of thing that's going on. And then we've got also the White Tower and the kind of politics that are going on there. So that's the kind of, am I missing anything?
I think those are the big ones. And there's a whole lot of little stuff in there that we could be curious about. Thoughts, babe?
Oh, I see. That's the thing. It's like I don't think that they're gonna find the collar just yet in Tanchico. I think there's gonna be a little stretched out in the story. Like that's not coming to a close just yet. I'm not really a political person, so I don't know about the tower and how things are gonna be with that because it's not, my place of interest. I don't think that Rand is going to grieve too long. He can't. He needs to keep moving forward. I don't know how much this death is going to affect him, the little girl. I do think that he'll, become a little wiser, a little more careful. It's a hard lesson to learn, and it's not one you want to learn the hard way. So
you think it will kind of harden him up a little bit? Would that be fair to say?
And he'll be a little more careful, a little more mature maybe, because like with the way he was fighting, it was kind of like he was having fun. So, I mean, you have to be careful for those around you, collateral damage. So I think that is what's going to happen there. Anything else, I don't really know. So,
Fair.
I think I'm not sure what will happen in the wastes and in the IL wastelands, but I think we're going to see another split in the group, whether that's Rand going off with Moraine and maybe Lon, or Rand and Moraine, or Rand and what's the now she's a wise one.
Avienda.
yeah.
Those two, like, she's supposed to follow him anywhere and everywhere. But I think we're going to see a split there. I'm not sure exactly why or what, but we're going to see some splitting of the group that is there. And then Moraine's going to keep doing orb.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the intervention arc where you gotta stop using so much orb. No, I really don't know if it acts like a drug for her or whatnot. It's just a funny joke. When it comes to the politics, I think we're going to get our challenge for the seat. I don't know necessarily how it's going to, the vote that what's her name in red wanted to bring up.
Elida.
Yeah.
Okay.
But things have changed a bit, because it looks like, even though she's a bit of a pretentious bitch, that she might not be necessarily bad and really does want what's best. She might not have the idea for what's best, but she does have, at least good intentions.
Yeah.
But I'm not sold on it 100% yet. We also have the queen and her husband there. I think there's going to be some sort of forsaken interactions, specifically dealing with that area. And Tanchico, I actually think all three items are going to end up in the same place, but I don't think any one side gets to keep all three. So I do think all three will end up being somewhere physically with someone that we know they're with. And I just think there's probably going to be some sort of fight, probably something that leads towards that vision Min had of Matt. And at the end of the day, the three items are still not all in one group's grasp.
True. It's not over yet.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot to cover. Do you know what the runtime is next week?
I will have at some point covered it.
Okay.
What I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I think if you look it up, I think Wheel of Time season 3 runtimes, I think we do have a runtime for the final episode. I think it was revealed. I would guess it might be a longer one, being a season finale, but it doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes you get the longer
68
episodes.
minutes.
That's longer than this week anyway. So
according
this week was
to
about an hour, I think.
Reddit,
Yeah,
Wheel of Time Reddit, WOT Reddit says 68.
Yeah, that'll
so,
be right. Yeah. Because some people have seen it already. I mean, press have already seen the full season, so they will be accurate runtimes.
So a lot to do, but I mean, you don't really need a whole lot of time to necessarily deal with the island IL wastes. You don't need a whole lot of time to do that. You need, in my opinion, most of your time probably in Tanchico and the tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously I won't give any comments on that, but it is interesting to see, and I think we have to remember that we don't have to wrap up absolutely everything, because the idea is that we are going to carry on.
Exactly.
If the show gets green lit for a season 4, then we are going to carry on for hopefully season 4, season 5, etc. And we need to carry on from here. I think there could be some surprises coming up. I think not just for yourselves, but for book readers as well. I suspect that a few things are going to change around. I think this week was an indication that, because there's so much that they need to cut in the future, that we should not expect what we should expect, kind of thing. So I'm expecting maybe a few surprises next week for myself as well, as long as everybody else. So looking forward to it. And that'll be us, season 3 done. Any final words from you guys?
Nope.
No, it was a good episode. I'd say everyone be sure to like, share, subscribe. Let us know if you dislike the video. Go ahead, hit the thumbs down. Interactions still count. And let us know why you disliked in the comments below. If it's our opinions, can't do much about that. But if it's something else, we can try to work on it in the future. Lots of great content, reactions, reviews, podcasts, all of that and more over at lrmonline.com. Written format, reviews and news aggregation, leaks, rumors. Cam puts things through his BS filter on those leaks and rumors. LRM YouTube channel for celebrity interviews, and Gig and Nancy killing it over there. Definitely go check it out. Like I said, there's some Andor interviews up right now.
Yep. And for anyone who is commenting, watching the video, or catching us through the Reddit link or anything like that, if there's any questions that you want me to ask Kyle and Christine, if you're book readers and you want to ask them this and see what they say for that, happy to do so, as long as it's not spoilery. You can ask a question as long as we're not implying an answer. Let's put it that way. But yeah, anything that you want to do, please just let us know. And thanks very much for watching, and we'll be back next week for the finale.
Yep. Bye, guys.